showed their legs. Oh, now it's beginning to make a little sense, huh? Because just think about it. Back during those days, first everybody wore robes, but then the men started wearing skirts. They showed their legs. They were macho too. The macho soldiers, they showed their legs. But the women, it was not fashionable for a woman to show her legs. So why would she be wearing a skirt back during those days, and stockings too for that matter? It wasn't fashionable for her to show the shape of her legs. So she didn't wear stockings nor a skirt back during those days. But today, they make skirts for women. Women just took over a lot of the fashions that men started anyway. Skirts just happen to be one of them, and dresses, except for about 33% or 30% of the world today in 2007, men still wear skirts, kilts they call them, from around the world. Scottish, the Turkish, the British, there are several other countries. Some over in Africa too have dresses and skirts. And it's fashionable for them today, but you can distinguish a man's garment from a woman's garment, and that's what Deuteronomy was talking about in 22:5. It's not a man not wearing a garment that's designed for a woman, and a woman not wearing a garment designed for a man. They could be the same type garment. We wear shoes together, don't we? My. We're not done yet. There's more. Men, not women, were the first to wear heels and boots. Here's a little history. Men invented pointed-toed boots and heels, high heels too, in order to easily mount a horse and to keep his feet in the stirrups, because they would slip all the way through the stirrup, so that heel would kind of lock it to keep it from going all the way through the stirrup. Women did not need them, and here's why. Women did not need them because back during those days, women rode side saddle. They didn't straddle a horse like a man. Matter of fact, it was considered inappropriate for a woman to straddle a horse like a man would. So she rode side saddle, both of her feet on one side of the horse. So she didn't need the heels to keep her feet in the stirrup, because she didn't have her feet in the stirrup. Get it? Could this be the answer? You reckon this would stop the lusting altogether? Could this be the answer? No, it is not.
Matthew 5, verse 28. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery already with her in his heart.
Here comes the answer to the lust problem. Jesus is the answer. Remember, the lust is in the heart. So if we will walk closer to him, we will not entertain the thought, we will not romance the thought that the enemy would try to place in our minds. Some women will dress in such a fashion, of course, where they will be very revealing. And sometimes it's a struggle, I'm sure, for the man to not lust in his heart. But Jesus is the answer to any lusting that might take place between a woman or a man, because women lust too, just as much as men do. So where is the problem? Is it in the garment that's being worn? I'm sure the garment can play a role. I'm not advocating that women should wear skin-tight clothing, or men for that matter, but when a woman wears a pair of pants and it's the same tightness as the average man wears his pants, and women are not concerned about lusting after the man, but they are concerned about men lusting after the women, and they both have on the same type garment, something is wrong with that picture, isn't it? So where's the lust? Is it in the garment, or is it in the heart? How many women do you hear talk about lusting after men who wear the same tightness of pants that they might wear? Just think about it. Jesus is the answer. Yes, Jesus is the answer. So, why should a man lust after her and a woman not lust after him? Think about it. So what did the prophet mean by this quote?
Selected Messages, Volume 2, page 477, paragraph 7. There is still another style of dress which will be adopted by a class of so-called dress reformers. They will imitate the opposite sex as nearly as possible. They will wear the cap, pants, vest, coat, and boots, the last of which is the most sensible part of the costume.
Let's look at it a little bit closer. She said that they would wear the cap. Could have been like a baseball cap, pants, men's pants, a vest that looks masculine, a coat that looks more like a male's coat, and boots. Now she said the boots was the most sensible part of the costume, and that's probably because it's kind of hard sometimes to tell the difference between a male and female boot. When you start talking about a boot, I mean both of them have pointed toes and heels. So it's kind of hard to tell unless they're fancy and have more of a feminine design to them. So do you think for one moment that the prophet was saying that women should never wear any style cap, no style pants, no vest, and no style coat, and no boots at all? Of course not. What she was warning against was women who were wearing men's clothing to try to look as much as possible like the opposite sex. Now, how would a woman look as much as possible like the opposite sex? By wearing the opposite sex clothing. Clothing that was designed for the opposite sex. If she wore a cap that looked like a woman's cap, she would not be looking as much as possible like a man. Same holds true for the pants, the vest, and the coat. Aren't there feminine coats around and boots? Of